Hi everybody, my name is Nairi. Welcome to my channel. My channel is all about adoption, fostering and childhood trauma. If you think that's interesting, please subscribe. So today is about things coming together a little bit of satisfaction, a little bit of good feeling. Often on my channel I describe things that are more difficult around adopted children and fostering and things that you might have to contend with. But today is the end of the holidays, Easter holidays, so I'm going to describe when we went away over the weekend, last weekend, and tell you just some things that I'm really happy about, really proud of. So it's a little bit more of a chatty video, a bit more informal, and because we've had scaffolders, children around, it's been really hard to record. But first of all, I want to say thank you to Christine, Mary and Erin for being fabulous members on my channel. So last weekend we went away. We had a baby shower for my grandson that is going to arrive in June, and we also had a celebration of one of my son's birthdays as well. So what we did is we combined it and we went up to go and see one of my adult sons who's a birth son with my two adopted boys. Okay, so it was my eldest adopted boy's birthday around about that time. Now normally we have a lot of anxiety when we go away anywhere, and we did have some. Lots of questions about where we were going, how long it was going to take, what the place would be like where we're staying, because we booked an Airbnb, and what we're going to eat, when we're going to eat, just endless questions. If you look on my channel, you will see I've got lots of videos about adopted children, foster children, high level of anxiety, and therefore their need to want things to stay the same, there to be no change of routine. Sometimes they are more comfortable at home, honestly, because they know what's going to happen. If strangers come to my house, again, they get very anxious. So there's lots of videos for you to tap into. I'll try and link them at the end. We went away. It was a few hours journey away, and we got up there. And when we got there, there were lots of people that my boys didn't know. Because it was a baby shower, then my daughter-in-law had invited family and friends that were in the house. So she had two friends in the house. Her mum also came over. So even in the house where we went, where normally it would just be maybe us with my son and daughter-in-law, there were lots of people in and out. And I found that the boys coped pretty well with that. One of them sort of sidled off onto his phone, but that might have been normal anyway. But the other one interacted a little bit, and I'm already thinking, okay, that's pretty good. You know, they're actually making a little bit of an effort. We sat round for a meal together, and, you know, they seemed to be fine. And I thought, oh, okay, this is not going too bad. I didn't have to speak to them at all. Normally it would be the younger one that I'd have to maybe have words with, but I didn't have to speak to them at all, so that was fine. I also noticed that the older son wasn't trying to hog my birth son too much, because that is sometimes a bit of a thing where he just wants to be with him all the time. Because my adopted children grew up as foster children in our house, and they grew up with my 5 children. I think one had already left home, growing up with them. So then they had the sadness really of my birth children going off and gradually getting married, meeting people and losing them in the home. And so they do miss them, but particularly my son, my only birth son, they really, really miss. So he didn't seem to hog, which was great. But the big challenge I think was going to be when we went off to sleep the night. We've had so many troubles when we've gone away on holiday, trying to sleep overnight and just having issues, anxiety, not settling down, a lot of not settling down. And I know you're going to say to me, well, children often do that on holiday, and I get it, they do, but not to the level that we normally have with our sons. When I think about their age, and I think about my birth children and other children, it is different. They take a lot longer to feel safe, and a lot longer to settle down. And then there's normally other things that go wrong. We've had all sorts of things. So I was kind of bracing myself for it. So first of all, when we got there, it was really interesting. My younger son was trying to work out who owned the house. It was an Airbnb. So he was looking around at all the sort of hints and clues, and worked out pretty much what nationality this owner of the B&B would be by some stuff on the furniture, which was hilarious. But it's almost like he needed to know. So they needed to know whose house it was. So asking lots of questions around whether they actually lived there, and the place is really nice, but it's really sparsely furnished. So I said, no, I don't think so. I'm pretty sure they don't live here. Lots of questions. But again, they settled in, and in the evening, we're all quite tired. So we were just sitting around in the lounge, and they seemed to settle in. Going back a little bit, they'd gone down a mine for the birthday treat. It was an odd birthday treat that my son had organised, and again, they seem to have coped pretty well with that. I thought that might cause a lot of issues with claustrophobia and darkness and all that sort of thing, but again, they seem to cope okay with it. So far I'm like, wow, this is pretty good. Normally we'll have issues. So then comes bedtime, doesn't it? And trying to choose the bedrooms. Okay, the bedrooms were exactly mirror the same. So not fortunately, my mum was going to take a room. She wasn't well enough to go, so it was sort of fortunate that both boys weren't together in the same room, because I can tell you that is a no, absolute no. So there are mirror bedrooms for them to choose from. I knew that if I offered up the older son to choose first, there would be a kerfuffle, and I also knew that then my younger son would want the one he chose, even though they were the same. Okay, they were the same. So I said to my younger son, you choose first. So he chose his bedroom, which was closer to us, which I think was significant. We gradually settled down into the evening. I'm going to say they were going to bed a bit later than normal. They were a bit tired than normal, but I really expected in and out of the beds and fussing and needing an extra drink. You know what children can do anyway. You know how they are, yeah? Bedtime is always a bit of a faff. With ours, it's definitely a bit of a faff. And I want to talk about bedtime a bit more in a minute and how things have improved for us. Because if you look back at our videos, you'll know that we spend ages wandering around the landing, checking that they've done what they should do to get them to bed. And when they're 14 and 15, yes, 14 and 15, well, 15 and nearly 14, that just seems crazy that we're doing that. So anyway, they went to bed and they went to sleep. So I think the older one had a restless night, but he still settled down. I mean, the older one probably wouldn't ask for help anyway, but they got through the night okay. And the older one did say that he knew that my younger son had come across the landing, peeping into his room a couple of times, probably to annoy. But again, nothing significant. Went to sleep, got up the next day, and we basically had a good day together. So, and they were really good on the way home. So what I'm trying to say is I could see an improvement in them. We weren't away for very long. They were glad to be back home, definitely glad to be back home, but I could see a bit of an improvement in anxiety levels and settling and things like that. So I want to move on now, another bit of a satisfaction. So I don't know what I've called this video, but it'd be something like mini triumphs or mini victories, okay, because it is mini victories. Talking about the bedtime thing, it's been driving us absolutely bonkers. So we're on holidays at the moment, so apologies for not having a fresh video for you, because that is why. We have got builders around putting solar panels up, kids, grandchildren. It's been very hard to find a space. That's hence why I'm in a very strange corner recording. During the holiday time, I think my husband's decided that enough's enough with the bedtime thing. And I will say that my younger son almost enjoys the attention of being asked everything. Sometimes it is that he just doesn't hear. And it's not that he doesn't hear, it's that he just does not process information. The number of times we've had a conversation right in front of him, I can say last night we had fajitas and we didn't have any cheese to go with it, which we normally have. Said right in front of him, there is no cheese. Having that conversation, we sit down and eat. Where is the cheese? He just does not process information, and it's very frustrating, but it's very, very common. So I think that part of it is that he's not processing before he goes to bed, and he gets distracted. So he knows what he needs to do, but he gets distracted. And when we're watching, it's almost like it's slightly fun in a way to have that attention constantly. Have you done your water. So we just have a very simple routine before bed, all right? They brush their teeth. They're supposed to wash, but you know, pick your battles. They've got to brush their teeth, get changed into clean pajamas, get their light ready if they've got a light on. Only one of them does that now. And get some water if they're going to have water. That is it. That's all they have to do. Now, in the past, that's taking more than 20 minutes, especially for the younger one. The older one, it's not so much of an issue, but you do have to remind him of things. But that's genuine that you have to do that. So I think my husband sort of thought enough is enough. And he's been saying to them, right, about 9:10, go and get ready for bed. I don't mind what order you do it in, but you have to be ready to settle down at 9:30. When I come up, you have to be ready to settle down. So I was doing some crafting last evening, and I came off of a live crafting, and I went out, and the youngest son sort of whistled out of his room. I said, all right. He said, yeah, I'm just getting changed. I thought, okay. So obviously he does everything like 5 minutes, 10 minutes before my husband comes up, but that doesn't matter. He is actually doing it without us wandering around the landing saying, have you done this now? Have you done that now? Now, this has taken years to get to this point, but it is a mini triumph for us because it's exhausting, and I think it's giving them the responsibility of, there's your time scale, you've got to get it done before then. And my husband's very much like, he said to them, if you can't do that, especially to the younger one, then we'll wind back the bedtime. We'll start earlier. So there is an incentive there for the younger one to get on and do it. So mini triumphs, guys, mini triumphs. So you know from my channel, if you follow me, that we have had lots of issues, so many different issues. At the moment, anger for the younger one and developmental issues for the older one, which clearly neither of those things they can help. And we're homeschooling the older one just for 6 months before he goes to college because of huge mental health issues, and we're trying to help the young one to understand his own anger. So recently my older son's been given a gaming computer, which he's been waiting for. He has extra money given to him, so we've used that extra money because it's been expensive. Now obviously my younger son could have gone absolutely crazy over this, but what we said was, you can have the older one's computer, and if nothing happens to that computer bad, because we've already had lots of smashed up things, that's how bad it is. So he had a computer, but it's, you know, we won't go into it, but lots of smashed up things. So if you can just look after this computer until Christmas, or even your birthday next year, then we can do the same for you, but we're not going to spend money on something that might get broken. So far, he's held it together, and it allows us to say that every time he starts escalating, that when you start escalating and you're getting angry, just be aware that this computer that you have now, even though it's not as nice as the gaming computer, it will go. We're not going to wait for that one to be smashed up. And mini triumph in that, as I've noticed that the younger son at the moment has avoided downloading the game, which is going to cause him the most anger. So he's taken control and realised that actually this particular game will more than likely result in him getting really frustrated and angry, because he doesn't like to lose stuff. So he wouldn't go bowling for a birthday celebration with my older son because he knew he probably wouldn't win it. That's how difficult he finds it to lose. It seems to trigger this sense of shame and guilt in him when he loses anything, which is really sad because you can't go through life always winning everything. But he's worked out that that game is going to cause problems, so he hasn't downloaded it. He will download it, but right now he hasn't. So it's like another little mini triumph where he's beginning to understand himself. And I say that our boys are so far behind in that because they have got developmental issues. So, but I'm going to say at least 5 years behind in having an understanding of their own emotions, other people's emotions. All of that means that they don't know how to respond to situations sometimes. So I know that's more of an informal video. I hope you enjoyed that. If you want to join me and support the channel more, then obviously subscribe, but there is membership available. I have just published a member video just for the members that I have on the channel, so it allows me to do member only videos and more of them if we have more members. So thank you for watching. Fly little birds, see you next time.